I'm really excited to talk to you about some of these marketing tools and resources that we use. Because I'm really one of the people who uses them like almost every day. So I'm really excited to share my knowledge with you guys.
All right. Let's see. 1 second. I just realized I think I was sharing the wrong screen. Okay, here we go. Are we good now? Screen sharing? I'm assuming we are. All right, so we will get started.
Sure. So before we really get into everything, just kind of wanted to lay out today's agenda for everybody who's listening. Um, so first of all, we are going to just kind of ask you a question about like what you're really trying to achieve with these new tools and resources. We really are going to be throwing a lot at you, so this is just going to help you kind of stay focused and keyed in on what we're talking about. Um, then we're going to move into the actual tools and resources that we're going to talk about, the specific ones. Some research, which you learn about your audience and your competitors, your life easier and your work more efficient. And then scheduling to make sure you really get done what you're supposed to get done on a daily basis, and some tools on how to make sure that that's all getting done. And then at the end, we'll do a question and answer with Lori and I. So if you have any questions, make sure you're writing them down as we go through these tools and resources. And so I kind of mentioned this before, but we really are going to be throwing a lot of tools at you. I think we have about 13 of them that we're going to be giving you. So we want to emphasize that, you only need to find one tool that you can use. These are tools that are supposed to help you. And so if you find one that you can use, is perfect. That's exactly what we are trying to help you with. But also, you can win a book if you take a screenshot of the slide that stands out to you of the tool or resource that you think you're going to use. Post it on social media, take a screenshot of it, tag us at Keystone Click. Our social media is in the top right-hand corner. It's at Keystone Click across all platforms. So tag us and tell us a little bit about how this tool is going to help you and help your business grow, or do whatever goal that you have in mind. And at the end, we'll I've ever seen. And actually, Lori, our CEO, who's with us here today, has a guest chapter in that book. So you can read about the biggest marketing mistakes she's ever seen.
You sure can. Thanks, Keegan. So let's get into the meat here. Before we share all of these awesome tools that we use, I want you to start thinking about what is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? We're going to put a lot of different tools in front of you, and we're not trying to add more work to the plate. We simply want to help create efficiencies in helping you achieve your goals. So, it's not a bad idea to look at the shiny objects, but just put them off to the side. And if you find something that looks of value to you, ask yourself, is this going to help me achieve the goal that I'm trying to work towards right now? So I just want to make that clear, because we don't want to overwhelm you. Our goal is to help make your life easier.
Yep. So let's start getting into it. Like Lori said, pick one of these and focus on it, because these are tools that are and resources that are supposed to help you. So first off, we're going to start with research. Research everything at Keystone Click. We believe that when companies do things, it needs to be grounded in research. So the first one we have, which is actually funny because I saw someone in the chat said answer the public. Our first one is Answer the Public. So basically, this is a great resource for, working with headlines, working with keywords. It's really simple to use. It's free for a couple uses. So you basically just type in 1 to 2 words. In the example we have here, since we're a digital marketing agency, we do this with our own research as well. So we typed in digital marketing, and then Answer the Public spits back out at you tons and tons of other things that people have searched for with the word or phrase that you use, like digital marketing. So you'll get things back like, what is digital marketing all about, how digital marketing works, and digital marketing and web design. So it's a really awesome tool to use to see what other things people are searching for with your term. And it's really awesome because you can use those the words that the people that Answer the Public gives back out to you. You can use that in your own keywords and in your own consumer research.
Yeah, one of the things I really like about this tool, Keegan, is how they position a lot of it around the questions or the commonalities. So you see like this bubble or this visual is breaking up into the how and when and why. And these are all really good ideas for content that you can write on your, blog posts and social media posts and whatnot.
Yeah, absolutely. You can, most of those are blogs that it's a free title for your blog, basically. What is digital marketing, for example? Great blog. The next one we're going to move to is 𝗏𝗄𝗏. 𝗏𝗏 has some free tools to use, but it also has some paid tools to use. We're just going to go over some of the free ones. We really use the Keyword Explorer, especially when we're doing research for clients. Basically, again, it's a very simple tool to use. You can put a link in to your website or your landing page, or you can even put in a keyword. And then from there, 𝗏𝗏 will give you other related keywords. And it can also give you search volume. So how much people are looking for these types of keywords and what else they're looking for as well. Laura, do you want to talk a little bit about the Link Explorer?
Sure. So the Link Explorer is great because it's going to help you identify potential sources where you can actually build links back to your website. So the goal, one of the big important factor with search engine optimization or making sure that you're getting found in Google is having sources linking back to you, because then they're advocating for you or kind of like voting for you. But you want to make sure that you have quality sites that are linking back to you. So this tool kind of helps you identify potential places that you could be positioning, getting a link back to your site on. The other one that is great is the location audit. So it's extremely important to get a feel for how your website or your company is positioned in various directories online. This will also look at Google My Business. So first, what it's going to do is audit some major directory profiles and look for any sort of inconsistency. Because a lot of these online directories, all they're doing is kind of scrubbing information and building their own databases. And so there's likely going to be inaccurate information, which could actually have a negative effect on your search engine rankings. So by doing the location audit, it'll help identify areas that you need to kind of clean up some of those directory listings to help improve your overall search engine efforts.
Absolutely, and search engine optimization is one of the key things with your website and how you grow your audience. So another one that we do, a huge resource, is Think with Google. I mean, obviously we all know how big Google is and how widespread it is across consumers and just how engraved it is within everybody's lives. So Think with Google gives you some awesome resources. You can search for anything. You can search across industries. You can search for specific audiences. One of the things that we really like to use and is super fun to know about is the rising retail categories page with Think with Google. So in this month, this is actually the stats from this month. You can see there's the top trending categories, so what people are searching for, and that's the kind of top left panel you see there. And then the top right panel is the basically search queries that people are searching for with that. So I had selected dehumidifiers because that was the top trending category. And then you can see that all these different types of dehumidifiers people are searching for. But then the really interesting thing that I think is the bottom panel, where you can see where these people are who are searching for it. So, you know, there's not really people searching for dehumidifiers in Washington, but it's a huge search for people in Illinois. So it's fun to look at, but it's very useful for consumer research when you're looking for where to target audiences and what else people are searching for as well.
Especially if you're doing any sort of like paid advertising online, where you can be very specific on who sees your ad, how your ad is displayed. Knowing that there's a high volume or high demand in certain regions for certain areas allows you to be a little bit more focused and strategic about where you're investing your dollars.
Yep, absolutely.
So another tool that is really pretty awesome actually is the Facebook ad library. So the ad library provides advertising transparency by offering comprehensive searchable collection of ads that are currently running on the Facebook platform and Instagram. Anyone can go into this. You do not even have to have a Facebook or Instagram account. This is just public information. You can access any and all live and active ads, even ones that are not intended for you as an audience. So this is a great tool. If you want to see what your competitor is doing and what kind of ads they're publishing, you can just go to Facebook/ad/library and look. You have to find their page because you just sort by page and see what kind of ads that specific page is promoting to get a feel for what their messaging is and how long they've been running those ads.
Great. I just want to add on again, it's great for consumer research. And it's great to look at what your competitors are doing as well. It's not just Facebook, it's also all the platforms that Facebook owns. So it's Instagram as well. So you can see it across.
𝗏𝗏𝗡 is a tool that we use fairly frequently in our research as well. You know, the screenshot's a little dated, but the information, the content that we gather from this source is very, very relevant. What I want to direct your attention to at the top of that image, there's a couple different options as far as the content research and the influencers. Those are probably the most important two that we use. But you can see there's a lot of like subcategories of information that you can collect from these sources. The other thing that's great is the amount of information that they share with you on the free version. We collect enough insights at that level, but you can definitely go on the paid and get a lot higher volume, depth of data. So the content research, if you just type a phrase or a word in, similar to like what you would do with Answer the Public, you're gonna get what type of information, articles, and content are being shared the most. So, and what is the channels they're being shared on and the volume that they're being shared. The other thing I really like about this is you can select the time period in which you're auditing the information. So this is helpful because it's going to allow you to make a decision and see this is the type of content that has high probability of going viral. So likely this is the type of content that you'll probably want to be creating for your brand. The other tab is influencers. And what I really like about this, again, a phrase or two, we'll stick with manufacturing because that's what's in the screenshot I captured. You're going to see who is publishing the most content related to those words or phrase. So basically identifying who are the influencers in this space. And your goal and objective should be to get those influencers to become advocates of you and your brand.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, before we get into automation, I just want to remind everybody that if you take a screenshot of one of these tools, post it on your social media and tag us in it, you have a chance at winning a free book that we'll send you. And make sure to tell us how you're going to be using it as well. So automation, is very useful for, you know, making sure that you are automating your things that you're doing in daily life, emails, social media. And I think, Laura, you're going to talk a little bit about Mixmax to get us started.
Yeah, so Mixmax is a great tool. It only works with Google and Gmail. Sorry, at least that I'm aware of it at this point. So it's a screen capture that I took, and there's a lot of really neat things on the free version, and then just the paid version is just enhanced even further. But the free version, it's scheduling tools that you can integrate with your calendar. You can schedule emails for later. You can schedule planned follow-ups or reminders. That's one of the features I really like about this is, you know, maybe there's an email that is of interest to me, but I don't want to read it right now. I don't want it in my inbox right now. So I can say, you know, bring it back to me in a couple of days. And then the templates and the sequencing is probably one of my other favorite features that I've used this tool for. So the little video that's being shared is just an example of a series or a sequence of messages that are scheduled and planned to go out. I just plug in the name or the token, I guess, to what needs to be entered. And then there's a series of messages that are scheduled in advance. I just hit send and it's good to go. Another tool that I love for automation is Buffer. So there's tons of platforms to do any sort of social media scheduling and automation. We're going to cover a couple of them. What I love about this tool is if I'm reading an article online, I find it of value and interest. All I have to do to be able to share it with my network is hit the little Chrome extension plugin, and then it'll just add it to my queue right away, meaning I have set periods of time blocked that I've determined, and it'll push it out to my network at that the next queued time in my line. So then I don't have to open up my social media channel and then, you know, copy and paste the URL and plug it in there right away. I can just have it push out automatically. And I love it. And there's an app on your mobile devices as well for this.
Yep, that makes it really important too. It's super easy to use. So another great automation tool that we use every day is SharpSpring. But SharpSpring isn't just an automation tool. It also combines automation with a CRM. So it takes it to that next level. We have really found that SharpSpring is great for automating emails. And you can do really simple things, you know, emails that are scheduled to go out at certain times every week or every month. Think like a newsletter. SharpSpring makes it really easy to do that. But it also, you can take it to the next step and do really advanced things with it. So the example we've brought for you today deals with podcasts that we host at Keystone Click. And there's guests every episode of the podcast. So every podcast guest has their own contact within our SharpSpring database. And we can go in and we can enter the date that their episode is going to be published. And then from there, it's a series of automations. So this is kind of the arrow to the right. It sends that person an email a week before their podcast episode goes live, just saying like, hey, your podcast episode goes live on this date. And then when it hits that date, it triggers another automation, which would actually be below this date of interest thing that you're seeing on the right, where it sends more emails like, hey, please rate the podcast and let us know what you liked about being a guest, or join our Facebook page to network with other podcast guests. So it's a really great tool for doing those advanced things that you would have to do by yourself, and it's kind of a mundane task, but this completely automates it and sends it out for you on specific dates.
I'm just going to comment that they're working outside our building right now. So if there's any background noises, I apologize. Not much I can do about it. So the next tool is called If This Then That. And there's a number of things you can do with regards to just automating some messaging around your emails. It integrates very nicely with Google Drive and Google Docs. I've got it connected to the weather channel so that I get an email the night before if it's supposed to rain the next day. And just so then one of the first things I do is always check my email in the morning, which probably isn't the best thing to do, but then I know if it's going to rain and I can dress accordingly, or, you know, I'm trying to ride my bike in right now. So if it's raining, I'm definitely not doing that. But I would recommend checking it out, playing with it, and seeing what fun things you can do to create some automations for your own efficiencies. There's also some that do integrate with Instagram and Pinterest as well. So if you're looking at some of your social media activities, this is a nice tool for that.
Yeah, and like Lori said, she does it with the weather. So it's a pretty expansive tool. So you really can play with it for your own life benefit. It's not just, you know, work stuff. Okay, so we're getting into our last category here with scheduling. One more time, I just want to make sure everybody knows, take a screenshot of one of the tools that you're super interested in, post it on social media, tag us at Keystone Click, and just write a little bit about how it's going to help you, what you're going to use it for, how it's going to make your life better. And there's a chance that you'll win a free book and we'll send it to you. And it's an awesome book. I haven't read it yet, but it's awesome. I just know. Okay, so scheduling. Scheduling is super important for businesses. Obviously, everybody has days that you have meetings back to back to back, and you can't get, you know, everything done. So, you know, scheduling is just a way to make sure that you have everything planned out for you, so you know when things are happening and can even get things out that are a little bit more mundane. So speaking of that, social media, we've heard from clients that, you know, they know social media is very useful for growing their audience, but they just don't have the time for it or don't have the right person. So one thing we use 𝗏𝗍able. And 𝗏𝗍able is awesome because you can upload a big spreadsheet of social media posts. It's called evergreen content. So you can post it whenever and it's still relevant to your audience. And these, you can schedule the days that they'll go out and they will automatically go out for you. You don't have to press the send button or anything. All you have to do is put a little time into creating this key. It's really great for making sure content's out and making sure you're staying relevant to your audience.
Yeah, but I like the evergreen component because it keeps pushing the content out no matter what.
Yep. And there's also, you can schedule more timely things. So if something pops up and you're having a sale, you can schedule a post that will go out. Say your sale is going out is happening in a week. You can schedule a post 2 days before that's, hey, look out for our sale that's coming up on this date, and people can be notified of it basically as soon as you know that that sale is going to happen. And you can also schedule more than one key as well. So if you're in charge of more than one social media account, in this example, it's just Twitter, but you can also have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. And if you're in charge of multiple pages across platforms, you can do it all within 𝗏𝗏able.
Calendly is a great tool for scheduling. I would imagine I see a lot more people using it now than they were a few years ago, but it just saves so much time between the back and forth emails. Just simply set it up. There's free versions and paid versions, and the free does just enough to definitely create some sort of efficiency. Connect it with your calendar system. You set the rules for how you will be available. And then you just say, this is the type of information you want to collect when someone is scheduling an appointment. And then this is the video or capture here is basically the experience that the individual that you send the link to is going to have. Another social media platform for scheduling and monitoring is Hootsuite. So we started out on Hootsuite real early on, and then we kind of evolved on what tools that we use for, because we have volume of clients that we're managing social media content for. But I still like this platform with their monitoring. So you can easily create as many streams as you like. And one of the things I really like to do is have a stream dedicated to finding certain tweets or posts on different social media channels that are using certain phrases. So for example, if someone was use the word, web design or looking for a web developer, whatever those phrases are, and they tweeted that, it would be in that stream immediately, and then we could respond and try to be a resource if possible. So the last resource here, not necessarily a tool, around scheduling is time blocking. So I am someone that is going 1,000,000 miles a minute, and I'm often asked, how do I get everything done and how do I do everything that I'm doing? So I decided I'd share my process around time blocking with all of you. You can see this is my calendar. It's kind of crazy. I'll get into how I build this calendar in just a moment. But what I do first, and I'm actually going to be doing this specific process right after we're done with this webinar today. I write out every single thing that is on my to-do list, everything possible. And oftentimes I like to use Post-it notes, and I'll place them on a wall because then it's easy to kind of reorganize things. I've also used index cards before as well. But first and foremost is to just have everything mapped out. And then once everything is written down, then I place it into buckets. Now these buckets are going to be your own personal buckets, but I have buckets. First, a bucket is always delegate. Is this a task that can be delegated to someone else? And I always have a bucket that's called something along the lines of like, it's an idea, but it's not something critical. It's something I just don't want to forget about. So those are two buckets of things that I don't end up actually scheduling, but it's still good to write it out and organize it. The main buckets I focus on are, is this an internal activity? Is this a sales or client related activity? And is it more of a networking or educational type activity? And then I prioritize the items within each bucket. So I do have a separate process on how I go about prioritizing things. The way that I do that is it's a manual process. I haven't found a way to improve it, but I'll compare every single item against each other. So let's say I have 4 different tasks. I need to write a proposal. I need to do a follow-up phone call with someone. I need to work on my next webinar that I'm going to do, and I'm going to write a blog post. So then I compare, okay, what's more important, writing the proposal or making a phone call? And then, oh, well, that phone call is probably more important, so I put a check mark next to that. Write a proposal or work on the webinar? Well, webinar is more important, so I put a check mark next to that. So I go through and I compare, every single item against itself, and whatever has the most check marks at the end of the day goes to the top of the list. Fairly simple, I guess, at that point. And then once it's prioritized, then I schedule it. So my calendar, I have designated blocks of time for certain bucket activities. So I know when I'm supposed to be working on internal tasks and when I have designated chunks of time for networking. And then I plug things in based on priority. And as you can see, I also color code these things as well. So I use different colored pens and markers, and I also use highlighters to organize what's happening. At the bottom of the list, you can see that I have little checkbox. So every single day, I identify what are the top 3 most important things that I need to get done this day, and I just write them out, and I try to fill them in if there is some sort of hole or break within my day, so then I know in advance, okay, if I have a pause or I have some extra time, I know this is something I'm going to fill in.
Yeah, and I just kind of want to jump in and talk a little bit about time blocking as well. So this seems like very hard work. And at sometimes it really can be, and it can be frustrating. But as you do this, it gets a lot easier and a lot better. And if you do this, you definitely will see an improvement on, you know, your time management skills, and you will definitely feel like you achieve more and get more done throughout the day. So if you try this, I just want to tell you, like, don't be frustrated if you're struggling with it and not getting everything done and you don't know how long things take throughout your day. It's something that you really do have to get a feel for.
Yeah, and I'm not perfect on it. There's definitely days and weeks that, you know, I don't get this done, but there's definitely a difference in my level of productivity and lowered level of stress when I invest the time in mapping out and practicing this time blocking approach.
Okay, cool. So those are the complete tools that we use pretty much on a daily basis at Keystone Click. So really, I just wanted to kind of bring it back to the beginning of the webinar and kind of ask you, you know, what is your goal? What are you trying to achieve? And I think that question should drive which one of these tools that you focus on. We threw a lot at you, but it's the same thing as everything else. You know, you don't want to get overwhelmed with all these kind of shiny object tools. You really just want to focus in and master one of these things, because like I've said before, these are all tools that are supposed to help you in the long run. And that's what we're trying to show to you guys here today. So the tools, yep. Yep. Go for it.
Sorry. I guess I'll jump in on this. So we have one more webinar in our mini series focused on digital content marketing, and that is in 2 weeks on June 26th. We're going to dive into measuring ROI and giving you some examples on how best to do that, because that is probably one of the most common questions that we get is how do we measure return on investment with our marketing activities. And then we're going to start a new webinar series starting July 10th, where we're going to be focusing heavily on marketing research and strategy. The first 3 are listed there. Though they are not ready to be registered yet, but just want to give you a heads up, and you'll definitely get a notification on the upcoming webinars very shortly.
Yep, keep an eye out for them. We're really excited about those ones because we're going to dive deeper into some of these topics that we've been talking about.
So let us know if there's anything we can help you with. As always, we have a give here, keystoneclick.com/profits. It is a free guide to help you build brand awareness, generate leads, and nurture those opportunities online.